everybody, and welcome back to You Can't Win. This is Tom here, and I'm joined by Don as usual. Today we have returning special guest, Big Dave, and we're recording this on September 11 of 2021, so it's the big 20th anniversary of that special day.
We were supposed to record last Saturday, so I guess this was, what do you call it?
God's plan.
God's plan. It was written in the stars that we record on this anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah, well, welcome on.
Yeah, 9/11, I don't know. Today I met the first person who I've ever met who has like a serious like, oh gosh, what a horrible day. I guess I don't know the full story, but she said like she escaped Lower Manhattan when it happened and stuff. And so like she got like a flower delivered from her mom as like a, I don't know, I guess like she kind of gets affected by it every year or whatever. So
Lame. My main 9/11 story was we got married in April of that year. So, I was young. I didn't really understand the whole immigration process. So my wife came over. And so we figured out that we had to apply in a certain way. So once she came over from England and we got everything sorted out, the day we were going to send off her immigration papers was 9/11. And so like it took her 2 years. Like normally somebody from England only takes about 3 months to get their marriage certified and everything works out, and they can have like their citizenship and everything if they're married properly. But it took my wife 2 years because we waited until the day. That day, 9/11, was the day we mailed the papers.
Before or after the attacks?
After we woke up, like we're on the West Coast, right? So like we woke up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And like my buddy's just like, so I'm like listening to the radio, and like the radio is all like
Howard Stern?
No, because in Vancouver we never got Howard Stern back then, so I never listened. But
okay.
It was just like weird stuff going on. I'm like, what the fuck? And I put the TV on, and sure enough, 9/11 was happening.
Yeah. I had like a little like 10-inch screen kind of thing, like TV. And I remember I turned it on like in between the plane sitting kind of thing. Like the first one had already hit and they were like, what's going on? And then the second one hit. Yeah, so it was pretty wild. And then I ran and told my roommate, and she was like rolling her eyes, being like, kind of like, Donald's gone
nuts.
He
lost it.
He's whining about something else and stuff like that. So I remember that reaction like so clearly, like just of me being like, planes hit the towers or something, that kind of thing, and then her being like, yeah, okay, kind of thing, which is probably the right response to some extent. But yeah,
what towers?
Yeah.
I was in India at the time, so it was like 6:37 or something like that
at night
PM.
Yeah.
Where
were you in India?
It was like dinner time. Yeah, I was in New Delhi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was. I remember it pretty clearly. Actually, I was scooping peas onto my plate because it was dinner time. And I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Did you only get to stay in New Delhi, or did you see anything else of India?
Well, we lived in New Delhi, but we did like kind of make little trips. Visited Agra. I had a school trip that we went up north. Like I don't remember the name of the town or whatever, but it was like in the foothills of the Himalayas.
Dehradun, probably. That's where like all the schools were and stuff, or Shimla or something.
I don't remember at all. And then we also went to Rajasthan a little bit.
Yeah. Everybody goes to Rajasthan because it's cool.
It is cool.
What is in Rajasthan?
Like all the old palaces and stuff, like the main ones, and like you can check that out, and it's pretty definitely interesting to see.
It's also Punjab territory.
Yeah, that was part of it. Like some of the Rajas and stuff lived there.
Yeah, that's like where the Turks came through.
Mm-hmm.
And brought civilization to the dark continent.
Come on. It's hilarious. Yeah, but I would, so many times people are like, "Oh, I should visit India or whatever," but it's funny. It's like it is definitely the biggest learning curve to visit anywhere else on the world. Like probably like there's probably parts of Africa that are pretty rough too, but you get to India and it's just full on press. It's a different world to visit, man. It's worth it, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of feel like any place that I've gone to after India is like not a problem. You know,
exactly
like,
right. Because
it's
you
you know, you can't even drink the water in India. You know what I mean? Like everything is like some sort of hazard, and there's just so many people,
yeah, it's just
everywhere.
you're just
At least in Delhi,
yeah. There's parts of it like when you get to Punjab, it's not so bad, but like the main places, like you're just crushed with people everywhere around you, and it's especially as a North American. Um, Myself even like going for the first time it was really hard to like get your mind around it and sort of like luckily the first time we went we stayed there for 4 months and so you can kind of like after that first couple of weeks like I'm from like the sticks in Canada too, so I'm not even from a big town where I would be used to the rush, but like just going into New Delhi and just getting thrown into the fire there, man, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's like being in a baseball stadium at the end of the game,
Yeah,
but
pretty
all the
much.
time. You know,
Yeah.
and people just shove you. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh man.
that's just how it has to happen. You know,
There's
it's just
no sort of Western politeness or anything like that. You just got to go with the flow and just get your licks in.
yeah, no personal space at all. Yeah. I don't.
That's
I'm
funny.
wondering, like, so I got a lot of stares from people,
Yeah.
which is just a little bit. That's a little bit like a cultural thing. Like in India, it's not really rude to stare the way
No.
it is in the
No.
West. You know,
It's definitely not. Yeah.
people just stare, right? So
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you get that too? I mean, I stick out. You know.
Oh yeah. Because I'm honestly like outside of Punjab where there's some tall people, but the rest of India, I was like a good foot and a half taller than everybody else. So especially like places like we would go visit friends up in Rishikesh and that's like the mouth of the Ganges kind of, and that's where like the Beatles went, right? That's where like their yogi was and all that kind of stuff. But all my
Oh yeah,
friends
yeah.
were like 5 feet tall, and I'm 6'5", so I'm like just sticking out of the crowd, like just people just like staring at me like who the hell? Because like the tourist parts is not so bad. Like the guys have seen a million people that are like that, but when they take you into like their town and to their home and to the real parts of that those guys that just everybody stops and sort of stares and looks at you and says like who the hell is that? It
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Like it was hilarious. Like Rishikesh, honestly, like the family we sort of got to know, me and my brother, and so like they said come and visit us, and so like all of them were honestly like nobody was over 5'2", and both of us are. My brother was 6'4" and I'm 6'5", and just walking through like the town center picking up vegetables or whatever, and we just looked like just like the sea of humanity parting as like the Nephilim walk through or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good
I
times.
remember that experience. I mean, like India and Thailand were two places I lived in like when I was a little bit older, you know, like high school age. So I was kind of like I got my growth spurt. I was kind of like, you know, like my full
Yeah,
size or whatever. And all these like tiny little Asians, you know what I mean? Like it was just pretty much always the tallest person if there wasn't like another foreigner
yeah.
there.
So my daughter, she gets into grade 11 this year, the oldest. It's wild. She's got her learner's license and stuff.
Hmm.
But I said after high school here, I'm going to send you to go live in Punjab for like 6 months or something. Like, don't just start university here. Go and live there and figure it out and see what people are like, because it gives you a really great perspective, and you can travel around. Because her uncle, like my wife's my wife's mom's brother is like, he's a police guy that's fairly high up, so they're pretty well off, so they can take good care of her. And but just to see it and like get that, you know, we we have like such a weird version of humanity here. Like we're so sterile, especially in Canada, West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
We're very sterile and apart from our neighbors, and everything. Like you grew up in Seattle, you know what it's like, the Northwest. Like we're very like, it's way different. Like go to India and get some real life lessons, and then come back, and then we'll figure out what you want to do for university. Don't just say, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea.
Does she have like a plan other than that? Kind of like what school she wants to go to and all that, or set up for?
I don't know if it's my influence or whatever, but she sort of wants to get eventually an MBA from like solder at UBC,
Oh yeah,
which is insanely expensive, but
yeah.
Is that prestigious? I'm not familiar.
it's the best MBA in Canada, probably,
Oh, cool. Okay.
right? But I don't know.
Is she a pretty good student?
Yeah, she's, all the kids are really good. Like, I'm impressed. Way better than me.
That's good, man. Good job.
What's the situation there with all the reopening and all that kind of stuff? Is like just school normal, whatever? Like no.
Yeah, this year is normal. The kids, high school last year was sort of half and half home, half at school kind of thing. And then for elementary, because for parents, they needed to have like their kids in school. So like they had either a full-time program or half and half, where like kids go in the afternoon, and the rest of it is online. So the two younger ones that were in grade 3 and 6 did the half and half thing. And oh man, they had way too much fun, because like, they'd wake up, open up their laptops at, 8:25, and their school would start at 8:30, and they'd be laying in bed, and then recess they'd go downstairs and get their toast or whatever for breakfast. But now this year, all elementary schools are back to normal.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? You like concerned about your kids?
Not really. Both the girls, like the middle girl that's going into grade 7, she's 12, so she's got both her shots, and the oldest got both her shots. So what's the big deal?
Yeah. Fake vaccine, fake virus.
Yeah, it's not fake, but you know what I mean. Like we've hit. Like, I think we've hit 75% in BC, so, like, what's the point of worrying? Like, let's just get on with things.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, they kind of have... I know they've reopened schools here in Chicago. Actually, today, I went to, like a square in the neighborhood, so it's sort of kind of like a downtown-y type of area, but just for, like, the neighborhood,
Yeah.
And I didn't realize they were doing this, but there was like a big Oktoberfest thing. So there was hundreds of people just packed in. So I was like, I'm pretty like whatever about a lot of this stuff, but just seeing that many people kind of made me uneasy. I was like, this is not a good idea,
So are the Poles of Chicago okay with the Germans celebrating Oktoberfest? Because isn't like that the natural like enemy?
You'd think so. I don't know. I guess this beautiful constitution we have just brings everyone together.
Yeah,
everyone respects one another here in Chicago. But I don't know. A lot of people wearing like lederhosen, like real legit, or I don't know what the proper term. They had all kinds of kooky outfits. But like it looked like real deal stuff. It wasn't like some like silly costume store, just a hat with a feather in it type thing. Like people had like real outfits and stuff. And I don't know, like I guess they just have it for this,
That's pretty cool.
Keep it in your closet for Oktoberfest every year. I don't know.
One of these days I want to go to, like, I've been to Germany a few times, and definitely not my favorite place, but I really want to check out Oktoberfest, like the whole beer halls and everything in Munich and all that kind of stuff. Like it seems like it'd be a really good time.
Yeah, probably. I was thinking about this. I saw this video the other night of an Oktoberfest that I'm sure this isn't representative, but it seemed really wild. So, like, I think they've marketed Oktoberfest as like this wholesome, like, cultural event. Like, you kind of just think of like these, like, dopey, smiley Germans. You know, it's almost like a family fun type of thing.
Yeah.
This video was not that. It was like a wild, crazy, drunken, like, frat party vibe. Like, there was people just puking and pissing everywhere, and like there was two guys. One guy did a line of coke off the other guy's dick.
Yeah,
And it was just
I think
kind of subverted my ideas.
I think that
Mhm.
line, that one, I've seen that video before. I think that's like a poppers. It's not really. It's not Coke because like there's like this old lady doing it there too. But the thing is, I wouldn't. There's so many like cool little villages in the Black Forest there outside of Munich that have some interesting events. That would probably be more worth seeing than like the main like sort of things in Munich where all the tourists are going and taking in like getting into the real part of Oktoberfest. I don't know if they'd
Yeah,
Mhm.
if
more
they'd
traditional.
be okay with my brown ass, but I'm sure they.
Yeah.
They've been browbeaten into accepting just anybody, I think,
That's
for the most part. You know, unless you go to
no,
East
that's true.
Germany.
Like even East Germany, like um, all the shows out, like there's so many good German rappers, and they're all from Lebanon, and it's so interesting, like that Germany's like, basically either Turkey or Lebanon, like parts of Turkey. Like it's sorry, Germany is like either parts of Lebanon or parts of Turkey that they've let in all the refugees, and so yeah.
Yeah, well, they had that guest worker program with Turkey for a very long time. There's like I think second and third generation Turks there, like in Germany.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Germany does seem cool to me as like a country that's just completely autistic. Like the whole country is just on the spectrum. You know, that appeals to me. I feel like some kind of kinship with that. You know,
Have you ever been?
I was born there actually.
Oh really?
I don't
But
really remember it. I was only there a couple of years, like the first 2 years of my life. But
there were part of a few of my trips. Like definitely had some amazing times in Berlin. Like that place was, you could call it like like just it is the most liberal place on earth probably. Berlin. Like we
Mhm.
had some pretty crazy times there, but the rest of Germany was different. Like I've never been to Munich or anything like that, but I've been to like Frankfurt and sort of like the areas like around it and like that area where like the river where it's all these little castles and stuff like that around there. But it's just it's a very different place. But Berlin was insane. Like I've never been to a city quite like Berlin. It's very like out there. Like everything goes and it's wild. It's fun though. Like um especially as a young person, like I just my mind was totally blown going there.
yeah, I mean, does that still have appeal to you? Like now that you're older?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's good parts of it, like some of the art and like the actual like the food and everything there was really interesting. So that part of it appeals to me as a grown up. Like I didn't go to any of like the really fine places to eat, but there's a lot of great food there in Berlin. So that attracts me. But like the rest of it, no. Yeah, I'm too old for that kind of stuff. I'm glad I got to experience that in my youth.
Like German food, or kind of more like international
Yeah, a bit of
food?
both. So like the German food, like their take on like the high dining of it, but there's so much like Lebanese and Turkish influences there. Like the food was insane.
Yeah, Lebanese and Turks, you could do a lot worse as far as like importing a food culture. You know,
Exactly
those are
right.
Mhm.
Like
top notch.
Yeah.
it was insane. Like like we would. I think we flew from Marseille, and Marseille had like that insane food culture of like just France, and it was slowly like turning with like that Arabic influence and like all the refugees there at the time, and Marseille
Mhm.
had like some insane food at the time, and it was really cool. And then we went to Berlin, and it was totally like like all like the cheap places to stay, because all my buddies that we were traveling with, um, we were all like trying to look for the cheap spots, and in Berlin, that was like the area was all Lebanese and Turks and stuff like that, and the food there was insane. But I'm sure like now it's gotten better. There's so much like high end stuff that brings in the German influence as well as the Turkish stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
When I was in high school, I took German, like like 3 years in a row, whatever. And I don't know, I really enjoyed learning about all that kind of stuff, and like it mostly evaporated like just pretty quickly after high school. And I never got out there, so I really hope to one day eventually tour around Germany or something. So
We
Yeah,
should all meet
yeah,
up in Berlin like spies in World War II.
yeah,
I just rewatched Tinker Tailor Spy. The that mo-
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Such a great movie. And was Lakar a real spy? Do we think like it came out later that perhaps he was, but we're not sure. Like, what do you guys think?
I don't really know, to be honest. You've read Le Carre, right, Don?
Yeah, I just finished my first book of his that I've ever read, and it was really good. It was The Spy That Came In from the Cold,
Mm.
whatever. And I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think he was a spy for a while, and but I don't know if it was like, I don't know how high up or whatever he was, but like he also said that in his sort of intro to the book that like the spies sort of they didn't care about him writing about it as much early on because like they basically approved it, and it was because they thought, well, this is so much unlike our actual jobs that it's fine for us to publish it or something like that. So
Sure.
that's how he said he got away with it or something. So, but yeah, I really liked that. The movie's good too. Tinker Tailor, I really like that, and I don't know. I should rewatch it soon. I haven't watched it since it came out, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
surprised
enjoyed it.
you guys, but I guess I'm a big fiction guy, and it seems like most people are. Well, anybody like I talk to on Twitter, they all seem to be very much into nonfiction.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first fiction book that I've read in a while, kind of thing. Like, over the last few years, probably one of the first ones. So, uh, yeah, it's rare for me, but it was good, and I want to read through the rest of them, or at least a good chunk of them. I might do Tinker Tailor next as a book. So yeah.
You'll enjoy it. They're all really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as like fiction and nonfiction reading and stuff goes, I kind of am like doing one or the other. Like, I don't know. I'm in the mood for one or the other, and it's like not a short lived kind of thing. It's like for a few years or maybe even several years, I'll just be reading, let's say, nonfiction, and then I kind of just change gears and do fiction for a bit. So I don't know. I can't remember the last fiction book I've read. I reread some stuff somewhat recently. I haven't read like new fiction for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I always read like one crappy book, and then I'll always try to read one book that sort of helps me like be more well-rounded as a human. But lately, I've just been reading fiction.
Sure.
Yeah, what's
Mhm.
the last book you read that enriched you?
Um, the last book I read that enriched me was this thing about the Byzantines, like the Rivers of Red, Rivers of Gold, I think it's called, and it's about the Byzantine Empire and what happened, and so how they grew out of like the Romans, and then like what happened when like the Goths took over and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool, like because I love Turkey and Istanbul so much, and so I really wanted to sort of understand that culture and how it was, brought Europe and Asia together, and it was definitely really cool. Like it was probably one of the better books I've ever read on history. Like, I read so many history books, and some guys don't write very well, but this guy
Yeah.
is a crazy good writer.
Cool. Do you remember his name?
I'm just gonna Google it right now.
This is where we need a producer. You know,
Definitely.
young Jamie, pull that up.
It's so funny that the producer of for a while, Opie and Anthony, he's become like this weird right wing guy. He's like one of the guys that talks about like how things suck.
Which one?
The guy that was like the metrosexual.
Like
They
E-Rock
used to
or
make fun of
Sam?
all the time. There's a whole thing.
I don't know. Doesn't surprise me, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I've been looking for a good book on the Byzantines, so I'll check that out. That's sort of a gap in my knowledge. I should be a little bit more versed in that area.
Streams of Gold, Rivers of Blood by Anthony Kaldellis.
Okay,
It's so good.
cool. I'll check it out for sure, and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. So we're talking about 9/11. It's interesting to me. One of the things I've never tweeted about, because I try to keep my Twitter about fun things and the bands and all that kind of stuff. But the first guy that died after 9/11 in America was a Sikh guy, Balbir Singh.
Oh, with the hate
I think,
crime.
Balbir Singh Sodhi, right?
Mhm.
About 4 days after 9/11. And since then, if you follow like the whole like hate crime sort of reporting and things like that, Sikhs have been attacked, at 4 times the level of Jews. And Jews report everything. Sikhs don't report it. Sikhs only report it.
I wonder why that is. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Something to look into, guys.
But it's so funny. Like, so it's Sikhs will only report if they get kicked or punched or whatever, right? Like that becomes a hate crime. And so it just seeing that discourse for the past year, every time like you see like something bad happens in Israel, and so the blue checks on Twitter, the Jews, there's this one guy, I can't even remember his name now, like I'm drawing a blank, but they're talking about like how unsafe they are and things like that. But it's just that to me really upsets me, because especially in America, we bear the brunt of most of the attacks because we're visible. Some Muslims, especially like blend in or whatever like that, but because of the turban or the beard or things like that, it's more visible since 9/11, and they've honestly like Sikhs have been attacked in an insane amount since 9/11, and they've been the model minority or whatever like that, but we could pretend to make it about us or something like that, but it just really annoys me that you see like these blue checks that have never had any threats on their life. They have had maybe one person say fuck you or why are you bombing Gaza, and they turtle and they think like they're being pogromed,
Right.
but
Yeah.
whereas like Sikhs have been attacked at such a crazy rate since 9/11 that whereas you just get on with it. You're part of North America, you're part of that pot, and you just up until like a few last week in Nova Scotia, one Sikh taxi driver was slit throat. His throat was totally slit from some white guys, and we don't know if it's a hate crime yet, but it happened. He was a student here. He came to have a better life, and some white guys killed him there. But it's like you don't see any Sikh blue check saying like, oh my god, I fear for my life, or why are you starting a pogrom on us because of something like
Yeah.
it's just it's very stressful.
I haven't seen almost anything too about the attack on like I'm not sure if you have, but like on the sort of main news things. Like, I mean, I saw like, they reported it and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be like, I don't know. Did they bring it up at the debates or anything like that, or
it's
did
not.
they do
It's not
anything?
even like
Yeah.
a
So
thing, but you know, some kid just like he was a Uber or a taxi driver. I'm not 100% sure, but like he got his throat slit by 4 white guys.
Yeah.
So like, I hope it's not a hate crime because it was just something that was like some drunk guys are going crazy, but because we want a good life here in Canada and we appreciate that, but it's crazy, man. Like, what can you say?
Well, you got to hear both sides, Dave. I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe he said something. Maybe he was ripping him off.
Yeah, he took him like 2 miles over like the road. He added like too much time on the meter.
Pulled out that dagger,
Yeah.
Give me all your money. Then they took it away from him and did what they had to do. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how much the hate crimes have been against actual Muslims. I don't know what the rates are exactly, but the whole surveillance and entrapment and all that kind of stuff is
that
wild.
was way more against Muslims, but the actual hate,
I mean, that's still happening. That hasn't stopped at all.
Because they entrap every sort of any kid that's sort of a little bit autistic or low IQ or whatever you want to say. They'll entrap them and say because those kids, they don't understand what they're doing, and they'll say, oh hey, I want to join ISIS or something like that, right? And
I mean, yeah, that happens sometimes, but really the way it works, it's coerced, right? So
totally.
Right?
Well,
someone who's an FBI informant is basically under the gun to produce something, to bring someone to them, or they're going to get deported, or they're going to get fired. It'll ruin their life.
Yeah.
And this isn't something they sign up for. They're basically approached, and now it's they have to play ball or they just get fucked. So, they approach these scumbags, the lowlifes in the community, and those people know who to go to for who's weak, who's a kid, maybe that he's even kind of got some mental issues,
exactly,
and that kind of stuff. It's really wild, and they supply him with all the weapons and all that kind of stuff.
Even here
it's
in
really
Canada,
amazing.
the couple that got busted in Victoria here, they were totally not the do you remember that couple that got busted in Victoria, BC, Don?
Oh, I sure do. Yeah, I mean, if you just even see a picture of them or something like that, you're just okay, this is pretty much a cooked up thing, kind of thing. Of people that
total
just strange
entrapment.
people. Yeah,
just strange, dumb people, and they're getting into that. But and that is the main sort of thing for Muslims in America. But the actual attacks, when you think about it, obviously, you see that they're our Muslim brothers are getting attacked, but the Sikhs at a certain level, that was the first guy that was murdered after 9/11 was a Sikh guy, and it was to me that's just one of the things. Every time I see that discourse on Twitter, of some people thinking they're unsafe because somebody makes fun of them, and just I've always sort of had that mantra of who cares, but that to me really upsets me because the Sikhs and the Muslims have really bared the brunt of that American chauvinism that says that okay, somebody finally attacked us, and okay, we're going to take it out on these random people, and whereas it's some white Jews that rich Upper East Side type of New York people that have never faced anything in their life get yelled at once on Twitter, and they feel finally unsafe, and they think that they're fighting Nazis or something. It's just, it's sad.
I mean, the sick thing is that a lot of this violence it's not those specific people's fault exactly, but that whole ideology of oh, we need a Jewish state. It needs to be only for Jews.
Yeah.
Jews need to be protected.
That's so messed up.
That's what causes this, right?
Yeah.
That's what the war on terror is in part about. the whole thing in the Middle East is, I mean, Israel's a huge part of that. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I kind of see those as very intimately connected. Like violence against these people and Zionism
But
are
there's
like that's
but there's
the
zero
cause and
there's
effect.
zero violence against them in America. Let's just bring that up, right?
I mean, not zero, but
It is
it's
almost
not
like
the
when you
same.
think like a plus or minus, like like a variance of a number. It's basically zero, right? Since 9/11, 20 years.
I mean, sure, like it's similar to like violence against white people or
Okay, so
something.
like
It's like not
obviously the shooting at the synagogue in Pittsburgh happened, and that's
right.
insane. And that was a weird right wing Trump guy. But the overall, like the average Jew has not faced the same vitriol or the same hate as a Sikh or a Muslim in America. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no argument, but the argument is always made. Like as soon as you know they start bombing Gaza, that argument comes up in America or England that there's this anti-Semitism
Yeah.
happening, and it just sort of overtakes that.
Yeah.
And we can cancel me or we can cancel whoever who's saying it, but it's 100% true. Like there, there has been so many murders like of random people across North America that are Sikh or Muslim, and you can trace that back to the hate of from 9/11 or whatever you want to call it, and there is no comparison. And like I just hate that you have to walk on eggshells and
Yeah.
say that there is some you know like there is like a balance, like saying like okay, we have to condemn anti-Semitism in all forms or whatever. Okay, I get it. Like I don't hate anybody except for real white people from Finland, like Tom, the original Aryans. Honestly, like
Well,
all,
actually,
all the
aren't you guys the original Aryans?
yes, no, we're the Scythians,
Right. Yeah.
but
We're
like,
brothers of the sun, Dave.
but honestly, like nobody, I don't know. It's just so sad that like we don't hate anybody, and it's just weaponized to like tamp down any good thing that you want in Western society.
Sure.
Like uh, even in Canada, like the NDP is so whipped by the Israeli community that like anything like you bring up and they're like, oh, that's a little bit of anti-Semitism there. Why don't you like tone that down? Like it's just wild.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to imagine it from like their perspective. Like they're bombing Gaza, and then they start crying about, oh, the anti-Semitism is on the rise. As soon as they're done bombing, that goes away. They just stop crying about it. But it's sort of funny to
Yeah.
imagine like you're bombing these people, like you're bombing hospitals, you're bombing apartment buildings, all this kind of stuff, and then people are attacking you. And if you genuinely feel like, oh my God, my life is threatened. I'm in danger. But we got to keep doing the bombing. Like we can't stop doing
Yeah,
this. Like
we can't stop
right.
it. Come on, man. Like that's
Sure.
part of our manifest destiny.
My life
No,
is
but
is
anytime,
endangered, but I can't stop the thing that these people are angry about. Like that would stop all the anger immediately. I can't do that. That's
Yeah.
or anytime somebody says that okay, some sort of anti-capitalist talk where they talk about like like how corporations are running the world. Oh, actually, you can't say that because that is anti-Semitic, and it's just I don't know, and that's why I just preach who care because there's never going to change. Like, people can't like I don't know. Anytime you get involved in politics or anything, you try to think good, you know, just it just gets pulled back. Like you know,
Yeah.
it's it's hard to explain that position, but as soon as you start preaching, like like there's these people, corporations and things like that, and then people will say, "Oh, that's anti-Semitism," or "That's anti-poor," or something like that. It's just a sad state of affairs where we are at. right now in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank God for the Taliban.
Yeah, exactly.
I always think that like one thing that Twitter needs or something like that is like color coded death threats kind of thing, like so that people can say I got a death threat today and it'll be like green, which means like 1% chance of this happening or something like that, or like I got a death threat today, or like so that if someone's like I got a death threat today and they're Muslim or something like that, I'm like, okay, well there's maybe like a 7% chance that guy's actually
like
going to get killed or something.
If it's from a Muslim.
yeah. And like if it's like a blue check writer in New York or something like that, that's like I was almost murdered today. It'll be like 0% or something like that.
Oh, I thought you meant if the death threat came from a Muslim, it adds 10% to the possibility of it actually happening. But yeah, that's, if the math works out, that's okay. It is kind of funny to imagine like a robot voice, like someone is like, oh, my life was threatened, and then a robot's like, 2% chance.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My first Twitter account, my main one, Mall Express, that I tweeted under for like 6 years or 7 years, and that's how I lost it. Was making a death threat to a friend, saying I'm gonna stab you or something like that, and it's so annoying that you can't even just jokingly threaten death online anymore. But can you?
Yeah.
I made some tweets today that sort of like implied that there's going to be another September 11th style attack tomorrow, kind of a thing. So we'll see if my account sticks around. I don't know. I like to kind of toe the line and see what happens. I don't know, but Twitter kind of sucks otherwise.
I'm a good boy now because I really don't want to lose it, mainly because our DMs, like you just talk to your friends and you just want to lose that. Then you have to find all the people that you followed and stuff like that, and it's annoying.
Yeah, I haven't even really been in the DMs anymore. I mainly just use our Discord, like the podcast Discord. That's kind of like my online chatterbox thing now.
Yeah.
So subscribe now if you want to chat it up with Muslim Tom. $5 a month.
They wanted me to do a fantasy football thing with You Can't Win Discord, but they're on ESPN. And, I've deleted enough apps. I'm not using ESPN anymore. Only Yahoo or Sleeper.
Yeah, who knows what kind of Chinese spyware is on that anyways.
Yeah.
How's the betting going this year so far?
NFL really starts tomorrow, but
Sure.
The college betting's gone really well. College started last weekend and a little bit this weekend, but it's going really well, like way better than it should have. I've never seen anything quite like it, so hopefully keeps going like that for the rest of the year. Otherwise, you make about 5% over your investment over the year, but it keeps you sort of engaged and enjoying it. Like people like, why would you bet if you only make 5% over a year? But it's just fun, man. Like it just what else are you gonna do?
I get you.
Like I was explaining to my son, we were watching this game, and he's just like, "Dad, why are you so into this game?" I'm like, "Well,
your college is riding on it, kid."
I'm like, if they win by 3 points, and we know they're way better than they should be winning way more by 3 points, I will win $80. He's like, $80? He's like, holy crap, $80. I've been saving up for a Switch. I don't even have $80 yet. What do you mean you're going to win $80? You got to give me the $80 if they win it.
Yeah.
Trust me, we've already lost $60 today, so $80 means we won $20 today.
Yeah.
So we're teaching him. He's learning math. It's a good way for him to learn math.
Yeah, sure. This is justifying the haram. How to teach haram to your children.
But is gambling not allowed in Muslim culture?
No.
Oh.
No. Not at all.
Not at all. Okay. I guess.
Yeah, which is, I've noticed a lot of the like Muslim Twitter folks that I follow are getting into crypto, which like people are always kind of like, how is that halal and whatever? But it seems like Muslims have kind of gotten into it lately, which is, I don't know, makes me feel better about,
Like
being
some
into
people
it,
are
I
like,
guess.
"Oh, it's so bad for the environment," but every part of the economy, like I'm very heavily invested in Canadian stocks. But like say if like you're super heavily invested in Raytheon or whatever, or like how is that like more worse for the environment than
Yeah,
you
I mean
know?
even just the traditional financial system is worse for the environment than
E-
crypto is. It's people just
Exactly.
think about the energy expenditure. Well, that seems like an energy production problem, not the crypto problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Energy is definitely like something that, hopefully we figure that out soon, but you
Yeah,
know, it is what it is. Everything takes energy. Come on, man.
yeah. You have some top shots, right? Some NFTs, basketball
Yeah,
NFTs. I was asking you about that a little bit, but I didn't get all the details.
I've done pretty
So
well. Like, I would say my portfolio, even after like started investing about $30, and so my portfolio is probably worth about 2 grand right now after
yeah, not bad.
withdrawing about $800 in ETH.
Nice.
But the thing is, like, there's so many like these weird NFT programs, like initiatives, like the crypto apes and stuff like that, the crypto punks that like went up like in some insane amount of money. But I think like
Yeah.
the cool thing about Top Shot is like it is cool. Like you see, it's not like a typical card. Like I'm a card collector too. Like me and my son, we are getting into like collecting. Like the year he was born, I bought a ton of baseball and football cards for him. So when he was about So he's 10 now. So when he was not 8, we opened up all these packs together and like put them in and stuff. And, it's really cool. It's so much fun. But the Top Shot experience is cool because like it's like a card, but it's, the guy actually doing the dunk or a 3-point shot or a block or something. And it's really
It's
cool.
like a video clip kind of a thing, right?
Exactly,
Like,
right? So like, and
yeah.
it's way, and you see exactly how many are made. Whereas cards, you have no idea unless like they're the really rare ones that like have it printed on the front, like um 100 of 299 or 5 of 10 or something like that. You have no idea how many that the company has printed. So I got my son into the Top Shot. He got his own account, and they tried to like stop that account because they think like 2 accounts at one address or one IP is like trying to cheat. But you get to know the people that own it and stuff like that. And they figure it out. Like it's a kid collecting, and he wants to get his favorite guys and stuff like that. But you know what? It's fun. Like my parents were so anti collecting anything. Like they hated it. Like I had so many cool cards, had so many cool comics growing up, and they're all gone. And like they would have been worth so much money now. But like when my son was born, like I bought a bunch of comics, bought a bunch of cards, and like now they're worth so much money. And so now we're into that together, and he allots some of his allowance, and he's like, "Dad, can you buy me these cards? Can you buy me this card or whatever?" And so it's part of his thing that he wants to get into, or he's going to save up for his Nintendo Switch or whatever. And it's really cool, like to get into that with your kid. Whereas, like, I think that's like such a great thing, like that disconnect from boomer parents, giving you birth to us, that like they hated all our hobbies, and they didn't want anything to do with it. Whereas us, we get invested and we help them, and we hope that like down the road that something happens. Whereas boomer parents hated all that stuff. Like it's just it's really like honestly, I'm having so much fun with all the kids. Like even like the oldest, my daughter, like getting into whatever she wants, like music or makeup and stuff like that. Like just helping her like grow and experience things. Just having so much fun. Whereas like my parents did not have fun growing up with me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into the cards, you know? Like even when I was like really into baseball, like playing it all the time, watching it all the time, following everybody, and the cards just never did it for me. I don't really get it.
Yeah, it's part of that whole having something tangible to add to your your uh your fandom or whatever.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Like so like he doesn't really care that much about baseball or anything like that, but he likes football with me. So like I'll get him like the football cards and we'll go through and I'll say like, this guy's this player or whoever, and like, he'll keep the ones that he wants or trade with his buddies and stuff. And it is so much fun. Like honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm thankful that he's into it as a dad. You know, the girls really aren't into that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
they have their fun. Like we do our stuff too and everything like that. But I'm glad my son really is into collectibles, like especially with like Lego and comics and everything. Like he wants to like get cool things and like save them for the future and stuff like that. Like he knows how to like keep things really good. Whereas growing up, my dad just hated all my crap that I had saved.
Yeah. When I was around 9 or 10 years old, I was really big into baseball cards, and so I've got like thousands of them, just kind of piled away, kind of thing, in the basement. And I don't know. I really enjoyed that. I don't know. Like it was a great part of my youth, kind of thing, collecting all of them. And I don't know. I think a lot of them are probably in bad shape now. But yeah.
Yeah, you should sort through them. Maybe there's something in there worth some money, you know?
Maybe that was back in the day though when like they were sort of overprinted. Now like
Yeah.
all they're trying to like keep everything into a certain printing number, so like things keep going up in value. But I think like the whole thing about like staying home and being in quarantine and everybody sort of having a little bit more money than they're used to, all those kind of collectibles went way up, especially NFTs. But I think like
Yeah.
the NBA stuff will be always be like worth it, especially like for the rookies and the good players and stuff like that. But the other NFTs, which are like who knows, like right now, I think there's a ton of like um, money laundering going on because it just seems like like all these guys have made so much money on Bitcoin and Ethereum, so they're watching it through these crypto apes or crypto punks and things like that. And all the power
Yeah.
to them, but I don't think those things are going to be really worth a lot of money. But Top Shots are definitely going to be worth a fair bit in the future, I think, because people like sports.
Yeah. I think some of these apes and other NFT things, CryptoPunks, all that stuff, I think they're gonna be worth stuff, be worth a lot because of what they are. They're like the first generation of NFTs or
Yeah,
whatever, so they have like
that's
some
true.
kind
Yeah.
of iconic kind of value.
Mhm.
Like 20 years from now, it'll be like, oh man, those were the first things before NFTs became whatever they go on to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you're making good memories with your kids with this stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Probably
definitely
the most important
fun.
thing. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, the NFT stuff never really made sense to me, but at the same time, like Bitcoin didn't either, and I made fun of that a lot, like 10, 15, whenever years ago it came out, and now I look pretty dumb afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to mend my ways. I was the same way, and now I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you gotta just take the L. Call when you're obviously wrong, it's time to just give it up and join the crowd.
Exactly.
Sure.
So we got some questions.
I was gonna say, yeah, we got some questions from our Twitter audience that came in, so let's get into that.
Sure, let's go.
All right, so yeah, let's start with this one. It's a question for Big Dave. How is your family in India doing with the virus?
I barely have any family out. I've only got like two.
Wow, that
my
bad,
mom.
huh?
Yeah, my mom's brother has two sons that still live there, and everybody else is still in has been moved to Canada and stuff because just the way immigration works. But everybody there has been safe. But one of my good buddies, his mom passed away from COVID there, so it's been crazy. Like, yeah, been sending money back to help some of the orphans because like the one society, especially in Punjab that I've been donating to, like they've had like an insane influx of COVID orphans. So, but the family's good.
Damn. Yeah, that's rough. I don't really, I haven't really been paying attention to COVID in India. Or is it like regionally diverse in terms of how it's affecting things, or is it kind of just like bad all over?
It's sort of like it just goes in waves, right? Like it just like it's bad
Yeah.
all over, and then it goes up, and then it goes down. But you don't just you can't trust any of like the reporting out of there. So like
Right.
basically you just gotta trust like the number of deaths or whatever. But it's not great.
Do they have any of the
Mhm.
anti-mask, anti-vaccine type of thing going
No,
on?
everybody wants a vaccine there, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that seems to be
Yep.
specific to
yeah, North America.
North America.
Yeah,
and Europe a little bit, to be honest. I know Germany has it. Oh, some of that
maybe,
stuff too.
but yeah, like everybody wants a vaccine though in like Asia.
Yeah. Yeah, they are a wiser people. All right, so the next question. I drafted Joe Burrow as my starting QB because I was very drunk. Is my fantasy football season salvageable?
Yes, Joe Burrow. He's probably going to pass for about 5,000 yards, as long as he doesn't get hurt. That team, the defense is awful, but the offense is amazing. And I've got a lot invested in fantasy football, like season long, where you draft teams now, and at the end of the year you get paid out. So I've got a ton of Joe Burrow, and I trust the guy, uh, especially because the defense is bad, and he's got a lot of great guys to throw to. So yeah, you're golden, buddy.
All right. Howdy, fellas. Is sex before marriage wrong, or more specifically, poison for a long term relationship / marriage going forward? I like this lady. Am I dooming it by getting my dick wet pretty early? Seems to be standard for most modern relationships.
I don't know, like honestly, like just play it by ear. Like, do you want to you like her? So obviously you want to marry her. So like, you know, I messed around before marriage, and I'm not too whatever about it. But we're in the West. You got to do it. I don't know what to say. Like, it just seems like normal. Just see what you like and lock it down.
Mm-hmm. I know what I'm supposed to say.
That
From
oh
like an
yeah,
Islamic perspective
exactly
here,
right. Like that's what he wants to hear. But like especially myself, like as soon as I found the woman that I liked, even though I was young, I was super young, I locked it down right away.
Yeah.
If you like that person and you've had sex, lock it down. If not, do what your heart tells you.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things it depends on so many things. It depends on like what are you like? Like
Exactly.
like me personally, I've always just been interested in having one serious relationship. I was never really interested in like playing the field. I don't relate to any of this stuff about like
exactly.
I
Same
want to
here.
just date around and like people who cheat. Just it seems insane to me to want to cheat. Like,
yeah.
either you like the person you're with and you're happy with it, or you're not. I don't understand like wanting to have it both ways or something.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Seems like a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
And plus, you gotta like juggle 2 women in your life. Like, come on, like one is already
One is one too many.
It's a little bit,
But
yeah.
just,
It's enough.
like, you gotta figure out what you want to do with your life, right? I always wanted to get married. I'm not the type of guy that wants to mess around. I was not a one night stand guy.
Yeah.
Are you the type of person that wants to have a family? Do you want to settle down? Then you find the right girl. If she fits your lifestyle, if she fits your sort of vibes and everything, lock it down, get married. If you're the type of guy
Mm-hmm.
that wants to mess around and you're not into, you know, monogamy and whatever, then enjoy it. Like just go out and sow your seeds and do whatever. But you got to understand, you know, are you going to be happy with that when you're 40 or whatever?
And burning in hell. Yeah.
Exactly, right? But no, you just got to figure it out. Like, honestly, when you think about it, sex is sex, right? Like, I that epiphany happens when you sort of understand life and consequences and everything. Like you make a relationship and you're having sex, and why why are you so worried about like thinking like this woman is beautiful and I should ruin my relationship and you know go outside of my relationship and screw around and stuff like that? But I get it. Some people don't have the self control to do that. For me, as soon as I found the right person, I locked it down. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm. I would never jeopardize my marriage for any person ever, like outside of my marriage. I love being married, but for some people, that's like they don't
Mm-hmm.
have that same contentment. But I would I would say to people that are listening, endeavor to understand what contentment is and try to understand that being content is very important, because as soon as you're not content with what you have, and because what you have is pretty amazing, and if you want to like get outside of that, it ruins your life. It does. But if you want to be a playboy, but don't be content, just have fun, jump around and go from girl to girl to girl. But if you want that lifestyle, that you want to be content, just be content and understand that what you got is great. It'll never get better than that, because no matter what your mentality is and stuff like that, that's just grass
Mhm.
is green on the other side or whatever. But once you find the right person or somebody that vibes with you, just be content. But if you don't want to be content, then have fun. But don't complain about it or whatever that you can't find your soulmate.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
don't let your dick do the thinking either. You
Exactly,
know,
right?
there's a saying in Islamic like Sufi stuff about like having the self, like you need to control the self. The self shouldn't control you,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's like having the horse ride the person instead of the person riding the horse. You know, so
Mhm.
you know you got to be in control of yourself, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people's issues with things like monogamy kind of come from that.
Well, no, once I
Mhm.
understand that main idea of contentment, I had problems not so much with sex or anything like that, with drugs and alcohol. Once I understood about what being content meant, that was very, like, you know, instrumental in being a normal person and being a good family man and growing from there. But you have to be content in your life. And if you want to grow from there, you definitely have to be content. But if you just want to mess around and go from here to there, like you're not going to really grow, but you can enjoy your life. And that's,
Yeah.
that's you. Me, I just want to be like focused on what I got and build on that. But, you know, that's every person has to understand what they want for the future.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Don?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good thing. I mean, that's one thing for like contentment for me, like in my situation where it just like for a few years now at least, like I just had lots of health problems and stuff like that kind of thing. That like just accepting, one day at a time and just moving forward and stuff, and not obsessing about like not being where I want to be and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. That's been helpful, I think, for me. So
Oh, yeah. Like, one thing, like being content and then sort of visualizing where you want to be, like in increments and also in sort of uh, steps that are real, like not just visualizing. Like I'm not going to visualize where in 3 years from now I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm, making
Sure.
millions of dollars or whatever. But visualizing where I want to be, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay, let's move on. So someone asked us thoughts on 9/11. I think we gave them pretty clearly earlier in the episode that we blame the Jews for it.
Yes.
So we'll move on from that one.
Don't cancel me, please.
Okay, here's another one to Dave, Don, and Tom. Don't you think most of the world's problems would be solved by a reunification of the Ottoman Empire? I'll let you guys start this one.
I think I don't recognize the Ottomans. I don't know. I'm still a Byzantine guy.
Yeah,
they're still there. They're just submerged under the.
we don't need empires. We need the thought of after Ottoman, what's his name?
Ataturk.
Ataturk, his arrows of life and things like that. That's more important than the Ottoman Empire.
Okay, well, those are two wrong opinions. I think that reunification of the Ottoman Empire would not solve the world's problems. What you really need is to abolish all other political systems and consolidate the entire world under a new Ottoman Empire, and that would solve all the world's problems. So you got to think a little bigger.
Okay. All right, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, see? Thinking outside the box. All right, somebody says, what's the deal with all this Michael Heinrich stuff? I have no idea what that is.
He wrote some books explaining Marxism, like Marxist Capital. I think that's what they mean.
Okay.
And I don't know. He's like a German guy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know much about. I think a lot of these people have had controversies more recently, but I don't know. I think that's what they mean. Yeah. He's a Marxist guy, or like a. Oh no, there's also a hockey player according to Google, but no, I think they mean the Marxist kind of books that he.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
even though we spoke fondly of Berlin and Oktoberfest, I think we should just get rid of Germans. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
Make living room for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he's a value theorist guy. I don't know. I haven't read his books yet. So.
Okay. Well. All right, well, let's just move on. Is every Canadian required to have a copy of Drake's new album, Certified Lover Boy, in their house, much like the sayings of Chairman Mao during Cultural Revolution era China?
Yeah, did you get your vinyl yet?
No. There should be. We all love Drake. And anybody that enjoys Kanye over Drake really needs beating.
Well, at least Kanye isn't a pedophile. I'm no Kanye fan, but he's not on that Pizzagate stuff.
Drake is not a pedophile. He's a bibliophile, or whatever you call that thing, where you're more attracted to 16-year-olds, and that's not a pedophile.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. I got a bucket of stones regardless, whatever.
Sure. Well, he is Jewish. So
even better.
That's your in. That's your in. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't listened to a Drake song like voluntarily. I'm sure I've heard Drake somewhere.
Oh man, he's got some bangers, man. But
yeah.
I haven't really listened to the new album. I've just been too into Punjabi music, but sure he's got some bangers. But like in Canada, we've got plenty of options, so don't worry about it.
What have you been listening to, Dave?
Sidhu Moosewala, or my Pendu. Pendu means somebody from my area in Punjab. He put out that Moose tape. He put out a big album. His songs are pretty good. And I have been listening to a lot of just the 90s stuff, Oasis, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. I don't know. new music, I've been listening to a little bit of Church's new album. Those people are pretty cool. A little bit of Drake. One or two songs from that new album have been decent, but there's a bunch of interesting guys like Young Nudie and Young Maul, guys like that. Some There's a bunch of like rappers from, never people don't get a chance to listen to. They're really good. Like Young Maul's last single is so good. Everybody should listen to it. I don't know what the name is, but just Google Young Maul. His last song is so good.
Is it MALL or MAUL or something else?
MAL. Young MAL.
Oh, MAL. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I haven't listened to new music in a while. I don't even know what the last new album I listened to was. Anyway, next question is, what will people wear in the year 2147? I'm thinking full burqa.
Guten Tag. That's German. Yeah, I'm bilateral. York.
What was that?
I'm doing. I was like this gambling podcast that I turned on by accident. They will be wearing burlap sacks and ashes to they're lamenting the sins of our millennia.
Yeah, maybe some kind of protective suit, like a bio-hazmat suit, that's like fully air conditioned.
Yeah.
Powered by solar power or something.
They will be trying to say, hey, it's like Job trying to, understand why God had cursed him. They'll be trying that. Maybe. I hope so. I don't want anybody to be enjoying life too much past us.
No, I think that we'll be wearing matching jumpsuits, and it'll be like a communist future. I don't know. Everything will be perfect, and I don't know. So, yeah.
Rosy-cheeked and just holding books up to the sky for some reason. Just all looking in the same direction.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds nice. Yeah, so we'll do this last question to wrap up. Wasn't there some guy calling himself Bummo Tits?
What's this?
That's a question sent in by a listener of this podcast.
Okay, well,
spell it out.
I don't know.
BUMMOTITTS.
I'm not aware of Bummo Tits.
No idea.
But if you are bummed out about tits, then continue listening to this podcast and we'll set you right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thanks.
We're a rehab podcast for people who have, melancholic feelings about breasts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I don't know. It was great to talk to you. I don't know. It's good to catch up once in a while.
Yeah, always good to have Dave on the pod.
Thanks for having me on. I hope we don't get canceled. We went to places.
Yeah, this is
it was
very much the most base podcast we've ever done. I think. 20 minutes of full-on Jew hate.
We don't hate them. We hate.
Wink.
The discourse. Okay, so before you cancel me, you got to cancel the discourse.
Yeah, sure.
And we're gonna go from there. All right, people.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sure.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, guys, if you like this and you want more Nazi Power podcast episodes, subscribe to our Patreon at hold on, let me start that again. If you want more episodes, subscribe to our Patreon, $5 a month. You'll get that and access to our Discord. Chat with us in our lovely community. If you want to send us anonymous questions, we have a link to the Curious Cat pinned on our Twitter account at YouCan'tWinPod. And that's it. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Honestly, if you pay a little bit more than the $5, I will go in the Discord and talk to you. So that's the thing. Let Tom know that you're paying more than the $5, and I will get on the Discord and talk to you. Otherwise, I won't.
All right. Yeah, I co-sign that. Sounds good. All right.
Yep. Okay. Well, good night.
Bye, everybody.
I don't know.